You know, Seinfeld was the most unusual show and the most disorganized show on television. we would come to the table reading every week with a script that was only like a third finished. We'd have all week long we'd be getting more of the script, and later on, and sometimes, right, the famous Susie episode, we let the audience go home at 10 o'clock that night. They'd been there since 7. We sat around until 11:30 at night trying to figure out an ending to that show, and it turned out that I had had an affair with Susie, and it was pretty good.
I've always wanted to ask you this, ever since I just was growing up with you. The tan, is it DNA, the sun's rays, tanning bed, or product, or combination of all?
No, well, I'd be happy to answer that, but I want to get your best guess.
I think there's a little bit of DNA involved, but yeah, otherwise you got some good product.
But I do use a little secret that I put on, and I don't wear any makeup for the show.
Do tell.
But I do use a form of my bronzer, which doesn't come off, and I love it when I'm on stage. I can do this and that, and nothing, doesn't come off.
So I'm going to reveal a secret to you. I'm actually a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl from Minnesota. Don't you know?
Don't you know I knew that?
But I use your product.
I knew that. Well, sure. Why don't we turn the camera around and you do the infomercial, and we'll be rich.
When I left here to go to New York and I arrived on St. Patrick's Day, my dream was to dance in the chorus of a Broadway show.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that chorus boys don't have legs like that. You know, I went and the rest of the guys were down here, and I kept listening and I kept trying to, bend over, fix my, yeah, like that. So I fooled them, and I got the job the first day in New York.
Is there a role that you always thought you wanted to play but never got to play?
I got to play everything I wanted to, and I got to do everybody. Tallulah Bankhead and Tallulah,
Good girls, bad girls, sassy girls?
Oh, yes, people, but I loved every one of them, or it doesn't work.
It's kind of a metaphor for life. It doesn't work.
I guess it is, but I realized I want to lift people's lives into what mine is. And I asked my father, and he said, you can do anything you want to do.
When I was 13 years old, my late Madam King, she was my auntie, beautiful lady. She was the first person that cut my hair. And she put me in a fashion show. I was 13 years old. And you're bringing up a memory that I didn't even know how much she shaped my life. Yeah. And I modeled in her fashion show, and I was like, this is it for me. And she was a fabulous hairdresser, and she's passed on. But that was the moment for me that let me know that I wanted to be in show business.
How it's really those little moments, seemingly little moments in life that really impact our lives. So I always say to anybody, whenever you touch a person, talk to a person, you never know what kind of impact you're going to have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you ever have a script that came to you and you're like, really? Are you kidding? Are we willing to try anything?
Well, the Julia Child, if you'll remember, that scene, I didn't think it would work because I thought, it's just blood pumping out. And we tried it in dress, and it didn't quite work because the prop guy didn't time the blood right. So Franken said, I'm going to do it, I'm going. And on air, I'll never forget this, Franken under the table in his jeans and his plaid shirt, pumping the blood, making sure that it came out at the right time. So that's what made it work, was the execution of it. But, there were many things I didn't want to try, and I just trusted the writers. And that's what they taught us to do at Second City, trust the writer.
I grew up in Jackson Heights, Queens, which is the biggest melting pot in the world, and I grew up with, everybody talking, what the hell are you doing? I like you very much, come over here. And, yeah, man, tell me something I don't know. And I did a wonderful day you had there, like, was almost... And so I learned all these voices and all these accents, and then I was able to cash in on it.
And then talk about one of the greatest American dreams, 1968, a gold medal in the Olympics. What was that like? Because 1968 was a kind of crazy time in America. We still had, race wars in the streets, and yet you were representing this country.
Oh, I'd been literally rescued from the gutter. A couple of years earlier, I was hiding underneath the house from the police, digging in the mud, covering myself with sewage so dogs wouldn't sniff me out after I'd been out mugging. This time, I was in the Olympics, I had a uniform, and there I stood, winning that gold medal on the platform. You hear the national anthem in the background, they put that gold medal around your neck, it's the most wonderful feeling that could ever happen to a human being. And I remember parading around the ring. I wanted the world to know where I was from. I had a small American flag. Look, look, look where I'm from. I'd forgotten there could have been any other differences.